The night was cold and quiet in the mountains. Taiyang walked through the dark forest with his camera hanging from his neck. He had been living alone in his small cabin for 3 years now. The city life of Seoul felt like a distant memory. After losing his wife Minha in a car accident, he could not stay there anymore. The mountains became his home. The animals became his only company. Taiyang stopped near a small stream. He set up his camera to photograph the owls that lived in the old pine trees. Photography was the only thing that made him feel alive these days. Through his lens, he could capture beauty without getting hurt by it. Suddenly, the sky turned bright orange. Taiyang looked up and saw a burning streak of light falling from the stars. It was not a shooting star. It was too big, too bright, and moving too fast. The object screamed through the air like a wounded bird. It crashed somewhere deep in the forest with a sound that shook the ground under his feet. Taiyang stood frozen for a moment. His military training from years ago told him to report this and stay away. But his curious nature pulled him toward the crash site. He grabbed his flashlight and started running through the trees. The smell of burning metal filled the air. Smoke rose between the trees like gray ghosts. After running for 10 minutes, Taiyang found a clearing that had not been there before. Trees were knocked down in a circle. In the center lay a strange pod made of silver metal. It was half buried in the dirt and still glowing with heat. Taiyang approached carefully. The pod had symbols on it that he had never seen before. They glowed with a soft blue light. Part of the pod was cracked open. Through the crack, he could see movement inside. Someone was alive in there. Taiyang pulled at the metal door. It was hot and burned his hands, but he kept pulling. The door finally opened with a hissing sound. White steam poured out. When it cleared, Taiyang saw her. She was a woman, but not like any woman he had ever seen. Her skin was pale with strange glowing marks that ran down her arms and neck like living tattoos. Her hair was long and silver. She wore armor made of black and blue material that looked both ancient and futuristic. Blood covered her side, but the blood was not red. It was silver and blue, shining like liquid metal. The woman's eyes opened. They were violet-colored and filled with pain. She looked at Taiyang and whispered something in a language he did not understand. Her hand reached out and touched his arm. The moment her fingers made contact with his skin, Taiyang felt a strange warmth spread through his body. It was not painful. It felt like coming home after a long journey. The woman smiled weakly and whispered again. This time, a small device on her armor glowed and translated her words into Korean. "The Fated One has found me." Before Taiyang could ask what that meant, the woman's eyes closed. She went limp in his arms. Taiyang's medical training kicked in. He checked her pulse. Her heart was beating, but very weak. The wound on her side was deep and still bleeding that strange silver blood. He needed to get her to his cabin. He needed to help her. But then he heard something that made his blood run cold. Helicopter sounds. They were coming from the east. Multiple helicopters, military ones by the sound of their rotors. Taiyang looked at the woman in his arms. Then he looked at the crashed pod. Whatever this was, whoever she was, the military would take her away. They would lock her up, study her, maybe hurt her. He made a decision. Taiyang lifted the woman carefully. She was lighter than he expected. He started running back toward his cabin. The helicopter sounds grew louder behind him. Searchlights began sweeping through the forest. They were looking for the crash site. Taiyang knew these mountains better than anyone. He took the old deer paths that wound between the rocks. The helicopters could not follow him there. After 30 minutes of running and hiding, he reached his cabin. The cabin was small but well built. Taiyang had fixed it up over the years. Most importantly, it had a hidden basement. The previous owner had built it as a shelter for storms and winter. Taiyang used it for storage. Now it would hide an alien woman. He carried her down the wooden stairs into the basement. It was cold down there but dry. He laid her on an old mattress and finally got a good look at her wounds under the electric light. The injury on her side was bad. It looked like a burn and a cut at the same time. The edges of the wound glowed faintly. Taiyang cleaned his hands and gathered his medical supplies. He had learned field medicine in the military. He had treated gunshot wounds and burns before. This could not be that different. He cleaned the wound carefully. The silver blood stopped glowing when it hit the air. It became dark like regular blood. Taiyang used antiseptic and bandages. He did not know if human medicine would work on her, but it was all he had. As he worked, he noticed more about her. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Her armor was damaged but still looked more advanced than anything he had seen. There were symbols and buttons that meant nothing to him. Outside, the helicopters circled the area. Taeyang could hear them through the cabin walls. They would search all night. They might even come to his door. He needed to be ready with a story. He finished bandaging the woman and covered her with warm blankets. Her breathing was steadier now. Her face looked peaceful despite the pain she must be feeling. She was beautiful in a way that was both human and completely alien. Taeyang climbed back upstairs and closed the hidden door to the basement. He disguised it with an old rug and some boxes. Then he quickly cleaned any traces of silver blood from his hands and clothes. Just as he finished, there was a loud knock on his door. 3 hard knocks that meant military. Taeyang took a deep breath. He opened the door and saw 2 soldiers standing there with flashlights. Behind them, a helicopter circled low over the trees. "Good evening," one soldier said. "We are searching for a crashed aircraft. Have you seen or heard anything unusual tonight?" Taeyang put on his best confused expression. "I heard a loud noise about an hour ago. Sounded like thunder, but I did not see anything. Is everything okay?" The soldiers looked at each other. One of them tried to look past Taeyang into the cabin. "Mind if we take a look inside?" Taeyang's heart raced, but he kept his face calm. "Of course not. Come in." He let them search the cabin. They looked in every room, every closet, every corner, but they did not find the hidden basement. After 10 minutes, they left with apologies for disturbing him. Taeyang closed the door and locked it. He leaned against the wood and let out a long breath. Then he went back down to the basement. The woman was still sleeping. Her chest rose and fell steadily. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed with soft light in the darkness. Taeyang sat down on an old chair and watched her. He did not know who she was. He did not know where she came from. He did not know why she called him the Fated One. But he knew one thing for certain. His quiet, lonely life in the mountains had just ended. Everything was about to change. 3 days passed slowly in the cabin. Taeyang barely slept during that time. He stayed close to the basement, checking on the alien woman every few hours. Her condition improved faster than he thought possible. The wound on her side was healing at an incredible speed. By the 2nd day, the deep cut had closed to a thin line. By the 3rd day, even that line was fading. The woman woke up on the morning of the 4th day. Taeyang was bringing her water when her violet eyes opened and focused on him. She sat up quickly, too quickly, and winced from the remaining pain. "Easy," Taeyang said softly. "You are still hurt? You need to rest." The device on her armor glowed and translated his words. She looked at him with curiosity and something else. Gratitude, maybe, or recognition. "You saved my life," she said. Her voice was gentle but strong. "You are him, the one from the prophecy." Taeyang set down the water. "I do not understand." "What prophecy? Who are you?" The woman touched her armor and it retracted like liquid metal, leaving her in a simple black suit underneath. The glowing marks on her skin became more visible. They moved slowly like rivers of light under her skin. "My name is Nari," she said. "It is not my birth name, but it is close to what you can pronounce. I come from a world called Valora. It is very far from here, many stars away." Taeyang pulled up the old chair and sat down. "Valora. And you crashed here in that pod. Were you alone?" Nari's face became sad. "Yes, I was escaping. Running from people who want to kill me." "Why would anyone want to kill you?" Nari touched the glowing marks on her arm. "Because of what I represent. Because of what I might do. Because of you." "Me? I am nobody. Just a man living alone in the mountains." Nari shook her head. "You are more than that. In my culture, we believe in something called the soul resonance. It is rare. It happens maybe once in a million lifetimes. It is when 2 beings from different worlds share a bond, a connection that goes deeper than friendship or love. It is like 2 halves of one soul finding each other across the stars." Taeyang leaned back. This sounded like superstition, like fairy tales. "And you think we have this connection?" "Because I found you. Not just because you found me. Because of what I felt when you touched me. Did you feel it too? The warmth? The sense of belonging?" Taeyang remembered that moment when her hand touched his arm. He had felt something strange, but that could be explained by adrenaline or shock. "Maybe I felt something. But that does not mean anything special. I am a medic. I helped you because it was the right thing to do." Nari smiled sadly. "You do not believe. That is okay. Many humans do not believe in things they cannot see or measure. But I know what I felt, and there is more you need to understand. She stood up slowly, testing her legs. She was tall, almost as tall as Taiyang. She walked to the small basement window and looked out at the forest. Valora is an empire, she continued. We rule 12-star systems. Millions of planets. Billions of people. We have been watching Earth for many years. Watching humans. Some of my people believe humans are ready to join the galactic community. Others believe you are too violent, too primitive, too dangerous. And which side are you on? I was on neither side. I was just a princess, a figurehead with no real power. Until 6 months ago when the ancient texts were rediscovered. Texts that spoke of the soul resonance. They said that one day a child of Valora would meet a child of the blue world, Earth, and together they would change everything. They would unite two civilizations and bring peace to both. Taiyang stood up. That is just a story. An ancient prediction that could mean anything. Perhaps. But some people believe it absolutely. And some people fear it absolutely. The ones who want to kill you? Nari nodded. His name is Hyunwoo. He is a commander in the Imperial Guard. He believes humans are beneath us.
He thinks the prophecy is a lie or a mistake.
When I was sent to Earth's orbit on a diplomatic mission, he tried to have me assassinated. He wanted to make it look like an accident. I escaped in the emergency pod, but he followed me here. The helicopters, Taiyang said. Are those his people? No, those are your military. They saw my pod crash. They are looking for me too, but they do not know what they are looking for. Hyunwoo's ships are hidden in orbit. They are using advanced sensors to scan the area. They will find me eventually. Taiyang felt a cold fear in his chest. Then we need to get you away from here, somewhere safe. There is nowhere safe. Not on this planet, not yet. Hyunwoo will keep hunting until he finds me, and when he does, he will kill me. Then he will report to the Valoran Council that the prophecy was false, that I was a traitor who died trying to contact humans without permission. The Council will believe him, and Earth will be marked as a forbidden world. Your people will never be allowed to reach the stars. But if you stay alive, if I stay alive and prove the soul resonance is real, the Council must honor the prophecy. They must welcome Earth into the galactic community. Humans will have access to technology, knowledge, and protection. You will not be alone in the universe anymore. Taiyang paced the small basement. This was too much. 4 days ago, he was a simple man taking photographs of owls. Now he was supposedly part of an alien prophecy that would determine Earth's future. It was insane. But he looked at Nari and saw the honesty in her violet eyes. She believed every word she was saying, and the evidence was right in front of him. She was real. Her ship was real. Her healing was beyond human capability. Let us say I believe you, Taiyang said carefully. What do we do now? We survive, we hide, and we contact people I trust in the Valoran government. People who support the prophecy. They can bring proof to the Council. But we need time. How much time? At least 2 weeks. Maybe 3. Taiyang thought about his small cabin, the limited supplies, the military searching the area, Hyunwoo hunting from space. That will not be easy. I know. But you are resourceful. You hid me from the soldiers. You saved my life with your medicine. You are clever and brave. That is very human. Something in the way she said human made Taiyang smile despite the situation. She said it with admiration. With respect. You really think humans are special? He asked. I know you are. Your species survived ice ages, diseases, wars, and disasters. You built civilizations from nothing. You reached your moon with primitive technology and determination. You create art and music and stories that touch the heart. Yes, you are violent sometimes. Yes, you make mistakes. But you never give up. You always find a way. That is why the prophecy speaks of humans. That is why I believe in you. Taiyang felt something shift inside him. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was hope. Or maybe it was that strange warmth again, spreading from his chest. Okay, he said. I will help you. But I need to contact someone first. A friend who might be able to help us. Can you trust this friend? Taiyang thought about Daiho. They had served in the military together. Daiho had saved his life once during a training accident. After Minha died, Daiho was one of the few people who checked on him. He now worked for some government agency. Taiyang was never clear on the details. Yes, Taiyang said. I can trust him. Nari nodded. Then we have a chance. A small one, but a chance. She walked closer to Taiyang. She was only inches away now. Her glowing marks pulsed a little faster. Thank you, Taiyang. For believing in me. For helping me. I know this is hard for you. How do you know my name? I never told you. Nari touched her temple. The translator device reads surface thoughts when activated. Name's basic intentions. Nothing deep. I hope you do not mind. I guess I do not have secrets anymore. Everyone has secrets. I will not pry into yours. They stood there in the dim basement light. Taeyang noticed small details about her. The way her silver hair caught the light. The graceful way she moved. The intelligence in her eyes. She was alien, yes, but also somehow familiar. Can I ask you something? Taeyang said. Anything. Do you really believe we are destined to be together? That the universe planned this? Nari was quiet for a moment. I believe the universe creates possibilities. Paths that could be taken. But we still must choose to walk them. Destiny is not a cage. It is an invitation. I was invited to meet you. You were invited to save me. But what we do next, that is our choice. Taeyang nodded slowly. He liked that answer. It felt honest. Then I choose to help you, he said. Not because of prophecy or destiny, but because you need help and I can give it. Nari smiled. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. It made her whole face light up. That is exactly why you are the one, she said softly. Taeyang made the phone call late that night. He used an old cell phone that he kept for emergencies. Daeho answered on the third ring. Taeyang? Is that you? I have not heard from you in months. Daeho, I need your help. Something happened. Something big. There was a pause. Then Daeho's voice became serious. Are you in trouble? Maybe I cannot talk about it on the phone. Can you come to my cabin? Alone, do not tell anyone. Another pause. Longer this time. This is not like you. You sound scared. I am not scared, but I need someone I can trust. Can you come? I will be there tomorrow morning, early. Taeyang hung up and went back to the basement. Nari was sitting on the mattress, her eyes closed. The glowing marks on her skin pulsed slowly. Is he coming? She asked without opening her eyes. Yes, tomorrow. You are worried about something. I can feel it. Taeyang sat down on the floor across from her. Can you really feel what I am feeling? Nari opened her eyes. Not everything. Just strong emotions when you are close. It is part of the resonance. It grows stronger over time if we allow it. What if we do not allow it? Then it fades. The connection can be broken if both people want it broken. But why would you want that? Taeyang did not have a good answer. He changed the subject. Tell me about Hyunwoo. If we are going to face him, I need to know what we are dealing with. Nari's expression darkened. Hyunwoo is a warrior. He has fought in many battles. He is strong, fast, and completely loyal to the old ways of Valora. He believes our empire should remain pure, separate from lesser species. He sounds like a fanatic. He is. But he is also smart and patient. He will not stop hunting me until I am dead or he is. What weapons does he have? His ship has plasma cannons that can destroy buildings. He has soldiers with him, maybe 20 or 30. They have armor like mine, energy weapons, and shields. They are trained killers. Taeyang felt his stomach tighten. And what do we have? We have you. We have your friend. We have me, though I am not fully healed yet. And we have this. Nari held up a small device that looked like a crystal. This is a communicator. I can use it to contact Ambassador Jiwon. She is part of the Valoran diplomatic mission. She supports the prophecy. If we can reach her, she can help us. Then why have you not contacted her already? Because Hyunwoo is listening to all Valoran communications near Earth. If I send a message, he will trace it and find us within minutes. I need to wait for the right moment. When we have a plan and a way to survive his attack. They talked for hours. Nari told him about Valoran technology, their weapons, their tactics. Taeyang told her about human military strategies, about the terrain around his cabin, about places they could hide or defend. As dawn approached, Taeyang realized something. He enjoyed talking to her. Despite the danger, despite the impossible situation, he felt more alive than he had in 3 years. Since Mina died, he had been just existing, going through the motions of life. But now, with Nari, he felt purpose again. Daeho arrived just after sunrise. He was a tall man with short hair and alert eyes. He worked for something he called the Special Monitoring Division. Taeyang had never asked what that meant. Daeho looked around the cabin carefully before he spoke. Okay, my friend. I drove 6 hours through the night because you sounded desperate. What is this about? Taeyang took a deep breath. I need you to trust me. What I am about to show you will sound insane, but it is real. He led Deho to the basement. When Nari stood up and her glowing marks pulsed with light, Deho's hand went to his gun. Wait, Taeyang said quickly. She is not dangerous. She needs help. Deho stared at Nari. His face went through several emotions. Shock, disbelief, fear, then something else. Acceptance. You are Velaran, Deho said quietly. Nari tilted her head. You know of my people? I work for a government division that monitors extraterrestrial activity. We have known about your people for 2 years. We have had limited contact through diplomatic channels. Deho looked at Taeyang. You found her after the crash 4 days ago. The crash that every military unit in the country is looking for. You knew about the crash? Taeyang asked. Everyone in my division knew. We were told to search but not engage, to report any findings immediately. Deho looked back at Nari. Why are you here? And why are you hiding? Nari explained everything. The prophecy, Yunwu, the threat to Earth if she died. Deho listened without interrupting. When she finished, he sat down heavily on the stairs. This is bigger than I thought, he said. Much bigger. Can you help us? Taeyang asked. Deho was quiet for a long moment. If what she says is true, then Earth's future depends on keeping her alive. But I cannot do this alone. I will need to bring in some people from my division. People I trust. Can they be trusted? Nari asked. Some of them, yes. But there are others who might see you as a threat, or as something to study. I need to be very careful about who I tell. Suddenly, the cabin shook. A deep rumbling sound came from outside. Taeyang ran upstairs and looked out the window. The sky was wrong. There were shapes up there moving through the clouds. Ships. Alien ships. They found us, Nari said from behind him. Her voice was calm, but her hands were trembling. Deho pulled out his phone. I am calling for backup. No, Nari said sharply. Your people cannot fight Hyunwoo's ships. They will be destroyed. We need to run. Run where? Taeyang asked. Deeper into the mountains. There are caves and tunnels that their scanners cannot penetrate. We hide until we can contact G1. The cabin shook again. This time a beam of blue light shot down from the sky and struck the forest a mile away. Trees exploded into flames. They are testing their weapons, Nari said. Searching for heat signatures. We have maybe 10 minutes before they find this cabin. Taeyang grabbed his emergency pack. He had supplies for situations like this. Food, water, medical kit, tools. Deho did the same with his gear. There are caves about 3 miles north, Taeyang said. I know a path that is hidden. We can make it if we move fast. They ran out of the cabin just as another beam struck the ground closer. The heat was intense even from a distance. Nari moved with incredible speed despite her recent injuries. Deho kept up through sheer determination. Taeyang led them through the forest using paths that only he knew. Behind them, the sky lit up with more weapons fire. Hyunwoo's ships were destroying the area systematically. Taeyang realized they were burning evidence, making sure no trace of Nari's crash remained. They reached the caves as the sun climbed higher. These were old limestone caves that went deep into the mountain. Taeyang had explored them years ago. He knew they were stable. They went inside just as a ship flew overhead. It was huge and dark, with strange symbols glowing on its hull. Through the cave entrance, they could see it hovering over where the cabin used to be. Now there was only smoke and fire. You're home, Nari said softly. I am sorry. Taeyang looked at the burning forest. 3 years of his life gone in moments. His photographs. His equipment, everything. But somehow he did not feel sad. He felt angry and determined. It was just a building, he said. We are alive. That is what matters. They went deeper into the caves. The darkness swallowed them. But Nari's glowing marks provided light. She touched the cave wall and her marks brightened, illuminating the passage ahead. That is useful, Deho said. My people evolved on a dark world, Nari explained. We create our own light. They walked for an hour through winding passages. Finally, they found a large chamber with a small underground stream. It was hidden deep enough that no scanners could reach them. Deho set up a small camping stove and started boiling water. Taeyang checked their supplies. They had enough food for maybe 5 days if they rationed carefully. Nari sat by the stream, her reflection rippling in the dark water. Hyunwoo will assume I died in the attack. He will search the ruins for my body. When he does not find it, he will know I escaped. Then the real hunt begins. How many soldiers does he have? Deho asked. Maybe 30. But each one is worth 10 human soldiers. They have armor, shields, and weapons that can cut through steel. Then we cannot fight them directly, Taeyang said. We need to be smart. Use the terrain. Set traps. Make them afraid. Nari looked at him with surprise. You would fight them? I would slow them down. Give us time to contact your ambassador. That is the plan, right? Yes, but it is dangerous. Taeyang smiled. Everything about this situation is dangerous. Might as well be dangerous on our terms. Deho grinned. I like this plan. My division has some equipment that might help. Drones, communication jammers, a few weapons that could hurt their armor. How will you get that equipment? Nari asked. I will sneak back to the city. Gather what I can. Then return here. It will take 2 days. 2 days alone, Taeyang said. That is risky. I have been in risky situations before. Besides, you need to stay with her. Protect her. That is your role in this prophecy, right? Taeyang looked at Nari. She looked back at him. In the dim light of her glowing marks, she looked both alien and beautiful. I guess it is, Taeyang said quietly. That night, after Deho left to begin his mission, Taeyang and Nari sat by the underground stream. The cave was cold but peaceful. The sound of water was soothing. Are you afraid? Nari asked. Yes, but also excited. Is that strange? No, it is very human. You face death with courage and curiosity. That is one of the things I admire about your species. What else do you Adam 2 days passed in the cave? Taeyang and Nari survived on the limited supplies they had. They boiled water from the underground stream. They rationed their food carefully. They took turns sleeping while the other kept watch. During those days they talked. Really talked. Nari told Taeyang about her homeworld. She described purple skies and silver cities. She told him about Valoran music that was played with light instead of sound. She explained how her people lived for hundreds of years and traveled between stars like humans traveled between cities. Taeyang told her about Earth, about the ocean, about music and art. He told her about his wife Minha and how losing her had broken something inside him. He talked about things he had not shared with anyone in years. You loved her very much, Nari said one night as they sat by the stream. Yes, she was everything to me. When she died, I wanted to die too. For a long time, I was just waiting for life to end. But you did not end it yourself. No. Mina would not have wanted that, so I just existed, took my photographs, lived alone, felt nothing. And now? Taeyang looked at Nari. Her glowing marks reflected in the dark water. Now I feel everything. Fear, anger, hope, even happiness sometimes when we talk. It is overwhelming, but also good. Nari touched his hand gently. Maybe that is part of the resonance. It awakens what is sleeping inside us, makes us feel alive again. Before Taeyang could respond, they heard sounds from the cave entrance. Footsteps, multiple people moving quietly. Taeyang grabbed a rock and positioned himself in front of Nari. His heart raced. If this was Hyunwoo's soldiers, they were trapped. But then Deho's voice echoed through the cave. Taeyang, it is me. I brought help. Taeyang relaxed. Come in. Follow the main tunnel. We are in the large chamber. Daiho appeared minutes later with 3 other people, 2 men and 1 woman, all wearing tactical gear. They carried large packs filled with equipment. These are members of my team, Daiho explained. This is Jinwoo, Hyejin, and Minho. They know about the Valorans. They want to help. The 3 newcomers stared at Nari with mixed expressions. Awe, curiosity, some fear. You are really Valoran, Hyejin said softly. She was a woman in her 30s with sharp eyes. We have only seen pictures before. You are beautiful, Nari nodded politely. Thank you. I am Nari, Daiho opened his pack. I brought weapons. Human weapons, but they might hurt Valoran armor if we are lucky. I also brought communication equipment and drones. And this. He pulled out a strange device that looked like a mix of human and alien technology. This is something we have been working on. A communicator that can send messages through Valoran frequencies but scrambled enough that they are hard to trace. You might be able to contact your ambassador with this. Nari took the device carefully. She examined it with expert eyes. This is clever. Human and Valoran technology combined. It might work. But there is something else you need to know, Daiho said. His face was serious. We made contact with Ambassador Jiwon. She wants to help. But the situation is more complicated than we thought. What do you mean? Taeyang asked. Hijin spoke up. The Valoran High Council is coming to Earth. They will arrive in 10 days. They are coming to investigate the prophecy and decide Earth's fate. If they find proof that the soul resonance is real, Earth will be welcomed into the galactic community. But if they find nothing, or if they believe the prophecy is false, Earth will be quarantined, forbidden from space travel for at least 1,000 years. Why so harsh? Taeyang asked. Nari answered. Because the Council fears humans. They see your violence, your weapons, your history of wars. They think if you reach the stars too soon, you will bring chaos. The prophecy is the only reason they are even considering accepting you. If the prophecy is false, their fear wins. So we need to prove the resonance is real, Taeyang said. Yes, and we need to stay alive until the Council arrives. Hyunwoo knows they are coming. He will do everything he can to kill me before they get here. If I am dead, there is no proof. No resonance. No hope for Earth. Jinwoo, a young man with quick movements, spoke for the first time. Then we need to go on the offensive. Stop hiding and start fighting. Fight an entire ship of Valoran soldiers? Taeyang said. We would lose. Not if we are smart about it, Taeho said. Nari, you know their tactics, their weaknesses. Taeyang, you know these mountains better than anyone. Together we can make this work. Minho, the oldest of the group, spread a map on the cave floor. There is an old observatory about 15 miles from here. It was abandoned years ago, but the structure is solid. It has good sight lines and only a few approaches. If we can reach it, we could defend it long enough for the Council to arrive. But we would need to move through the forest, Taeyang said. Hyunwoo's soldiers are searching everywhere. Then we move at night, Nari said. Valoran night vision is good, but your soldiers have technology that can help. And I can scout ahead. My species is faster and quieter than humans. They planned for hours. Each person contributed ideas. They worked out routes, timing, contingencies. Taeyang watched how naturally everyone worked together. Human and Valoran, different species united by a common goal. When the planning was done, Nari used the modified communicator to send a message to Ambassador Jiwon. The message was simple. I am alive. The resonance is real. Protect Earth until I can prove it. After sending the message, they waited. Minutes felt like hours. Then the communicator buzzed with a response. Message received. I am coming with protection. Hold your position 10 days. Stay alive. Relief flooded the cave. They had a deadline. They had a plan. They had hope. That night, while the others slept, Taeyang stood at the cave entrance and looked at the stars. Nari joined him. Are you afraid of what comes next? She asked. Yes, but I am more afraid of doing nothing. If Hyunwoo wins, Earth loses everything. Not just space travel, but the chance to be part of something bigger, the chance to know we are not alone. You would risk your life for that? I would risk my life for many things. For justice. For friends. For people who cannot protect themselves. He looked at Nari. For you. Nari was quiet for a moment. Why for me? Because you believe in humans when your own people do not. Because you came here to build bridges instead of walls. Because when I look at you, I see someone worth protecting. Nari's glowing marks pulsed faster. Taeyang, I need to tell you something. The resonance is growing stronger between us. I can feel your emotions clearly now. Your determination, your kindness, and something else. What else? Affection. Maybe even the beginning of love. Taeyang's heart beat faster. Is that the resonance? Or is it real? I think it is both. The resonance shows us what is already there. It does not create feelings. It reveals them. And what I feel from you, what I feel for you, it is very real. Taeyang took her hand. The warmth spread between them again. But this time it felt different, deeper, more personal. I never thought I could feel this way again, Taeyang said. After Minha died, I thought that part of me was gone forever. But with you, I feel alive. I feel hope. I feel the same. On Valora, emotions are controlled. We are taught to be logical, rational. But here with you, I feel wild and free. It is scary, but also wonderful. They stood together in the darkness, hands joined, looking at the stars. Somewhere up there, Hyunwoo was hunting them. Somewhere up there, the Council was traveling toward Earth. But in that moment, all that mattered was the connection between them. When this is over, Taeyang said softly, what happens to us? I do not know. If we survive, if we prove the resonance, then perhaps we can be together. build something new. But if we failed, then at least we had this moment, this connection. I choose to believe we will survive. I choose to believe in us, Nari smiled. That is very human, to hope even when logic says there is no chance. And is it working? Am I making you hope too? Yes, you are teaching me to be more human. And I like it. They went back into the cave together. Tomorrow they would move to the observatory. Tomorrow they would prepare for war. But tonight they had peace. They had each other. As Taiyang lay down to sleep, he thought about the choice he had made. He could have turned away from Nari that first night, could have reported her to the military, could have stayed safe in his cabin, but he had chosen to help her, and that choice had led to this moment, this feeling of purpose and connection. Maybe destiny was real after all, not as a force that controlled people, but as a path that appeared before those brave enough to walk it. Nari had said it before, the universe creates possibilities, but humans must choose to seize them. Taiyang had made his choice. He would protect Nari. He would fight for Earth's future. He would face whatever came next with courage, because that was what humans did. They faced the impossible and found a way through. And sometimes, if they were very lucky, they found love along the way. He journeyed to the observatory took 3 nights. They moved slowly through the mountains, avoiding open areas. Nari scouted ahead using her superior speed and night vision. The human team followed her signals, carrying heavy equipment through rough terrain. On the 3rd night, they reached the old observatory. It stood on a hilltop surrounded by forest. The building was made of concrete and steel, weathered but solid. Large windows looked out in all directions, perfect for watching the approaches. This will work, Deho said as they entered. Good sight lines. Strong walls, only 3 ways up the hill. They spent 2 days preparing the observatory. They set up weapons at each window. They rigged motion sensors around the perimeter. They stockpiled food and water. Minho, who had engineering training, repaired the old generator and got power running again. Nari used the time to teach them about Valoran technology. She showed them how to identify different types of alien weapons. She explained the weak points in Valoran armor. She taught them Valoran military signals so they could predict enemy movements. Taiyang was impressed by how much she knew. She was not just a princess. She was a trained warrior and strategist. You said you had no real power in the Empire, Taiyang mentioned one evening. But you know so much about military tactics, Nari smiled. Having no political power does not mean having no skills. I trained with the Imperial Guard for years. My father wanted me to be capable of defending myself. He said a leader who cannot fight cannot lead. Your father sounds wise. He was. He died 5 years ago. After that, I became just a symbol, a pretty face for diplomatic events, until the prophecy was rediscovered. Do you miss him? Every day. He would have liked you, I think. He respected humans, said you reminded him of young Velerans before we became too comfortable with our power. Days passed peacefully at the observatory. Too peacefully. Taeyang felt uneasy. They had seen no sign of Hyunwoo's forces since the cave. No ships. No soldiers. Nothing. Maybe he gave up, Heejin suggested during a planning meeting. No, Nari said firmly. Hyunwoo never gives up. He is waiting for something. Planning something. The council arrives in 5 days, Deho said. Maybe he is gathering forces for one final attack. That night, Taeyang could not sleep. He stood at a window and watched the dark forest. Nari joined him, her presence now familiar and comforting. You are worried, she said. Yes, everything feels too quiet. Too easy. Trust your instincts. They have kept you alive so far. Taeyang looked at her. Over the past week, she had become more than just someone he was protecting. She was his friend. Maybe more than a friend. The resonance between them had grown stronger. He could feel her emotions even when they were not touching. And he knew she could feel his. Nari, when this is over, what will you do? If we survive, I will testify before the council. Prove the resonance is real. Help Earth join the galactic community. And after that, she was quiet for a moment. I do not know. I have responsibilities on Valora. My people will expect me to return. But I have responsibilities here too, to you, to the resonance. Would you stay on Earth? Would you want me to? Taeyang took her hand. The warmth flowed between them immediately. Yes, I would want you to stay. Not because of prophecy or duty, but because I care about you. Because being with you makes me happy. Nari's eyes shimmered. I care about you too. More than I thought possible. You have shown me what it means to be human. To feel deeply. To love without logic. Love? Yes, I think I am falling in love with you, Taeyang. Even though it is illogical. Even though we are from different worlds. Even though it complicates everything. Taeyang pulled her closer. It is not illogical. It is the most natural thing in the universe. Two people finding each other, connecting, caring. They were inches apart now. Taeyang could see the glowing marks on her skin pulsing faster. He could feel her heart beating through the resonance. May I kiss you, he asked. Yes, their lips met. The moment they touched, the resonance exploded between them. Light filled the room as Nari's marks blazed bright. Taeyang felt every emotion she had. Joy, love, hope, fear. All of it mixed together in a beautiful chaos. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. That was, Nari began. Amazing, Taeyang finished. They were both smiling. But then alarms started blaring throughout the observatory. The motion sensors were going off. All of them at once. Daeho ran into the room. We have movement on all three approaches. Lots of movement. Taeyang and Nari rushed to the windows. In the darkness, they could see shapes moving through the forest. Dozens of them. Glowing armor. Valoran soldiers. Hyunwoo found us, Nari said. Everyone to positions. This is it. The team scrambled to their defensive positions. Taeyang grabbed a rifle. Hyejin manned the heavy machine gun they had mounted on the second floor. Jinwoo and Minho covered the side windows. Daeho coordinated communications. The Valoran soldiers stopped at the edge of the tree line. They formed a perimeter around the observatory, waiting. Then a voice boomed through the night. It came from speakers on the soldiers' armor, amplified and cold. Nari, daughter of Valora, you cannot win. Surrender now and I will make your death quick. Resist and I will kill everyone with you. It was Hyunwoo. Nari stepped to the window and shouted back. I will never surrender to you, Hanwoo. The council is coming. They will see your betrayal. The council will see nothing. They will arrive to find your burned body, and a story of how you died trying to corrupt humans with false prophecy. I have already prepared my report. You are afraid of the prophecy because it threatens your power. I am not afraid. I am protecting our empire from contamination. These humans are violent primitives. They do not deserve the stars. Taeyang felt anger surge through him. He wanted to shout back to defend humanity. But Nari touched his arm and shook her head. Do not engage him, her expression said. But then something happened that changed everything. Captain Sunwoo, Daeho's superior officer, walked out of the forest. He was with the Valoran soldiers. He was on their side. Sunwoo? Daeho's voice was filled with disbelief. What are you doing? Sunwoo looked up at the observatory. Even from a distance, Taeyang could see the guilt on his face, but also greed. I am sorry, Daeho, but Hyunwoo made me an offer I could not refuse. Valoran technology in exchange for information. Do you know what we could do with that technology? What Korea could become? You sold us out, Daeho said. His voice was shaking with anger. You sold out Earth. I am saving Earth. When the Council quarantines us, we will need advanced technology to survive. To defend ourselves. Hyunwoo promised me that technology. He is lying to you, Nari shouted. Hyunwoo will give you nothing. He will destroy all evidence and leave Earth isolated forever. But Sunwoo shook his head. It is too late. I already told him everything. Your location, your defenses, your plans. He knows about the communicator, about Ambassador Jiwon. He has jammed all signals. No one is coming to help you. The weight of his words hit them like a physical blow. They were alone, cut off, surrounded by superior forces. Hyunwoo's voice came again. You have 1 hour to surrender. After that, we attack. And when we attack, none of you will survive. The Valoran soldiers retreated into the forest. Sunwoo went with them. The observatory fell silent. Inside, the team gathered in the main room. Everyone looked shaken. We have to run, Hyejin said. There are too many of them. We cannot win this fight. There is nowhere to run, Minho said. They have us surrounded. And even if we escaped, they would track us. Then we fight, Jinwoo said. We have weapons. We have training. Maybe we can hold them off until the council arrives. The council arrives in 5 days, Daeho said. We would need to hold out for 5 days against an elite Valoran strike force. It is impossible. Everyone looked at Nari. She stood by the window, her face calm but her glowing marks pulsing rapidly. Taeyang could feel her emotions through the resonance. Fear, sadness, but also determination. There is one option, Nari said quietly. I surrender to Hyunwoo. Let him take me. You all escape while you can. No, Taeyang said immediately. That is not an option. It is the only option that saves your lives. What about your life? You said Hyunwoo will kill you. Yes, but at least you will survive. Earth will survive. Earth will be quarantined forever if you die. You said so yourself. Without proof of the resonance, the council will side with Hyunwoo. Nari turned to face him. Tears ran down her face, glowing slightly in the darkness. Then I am sorry. I'm sorry I brought this danger to you. I am sorry I made you care about me. I am sorry for everything. Taeyang crossed the room in 3 steps. He took her hands in his. Listen to me. We are not giving up. We are not surrendering. We are going to fight and we are going to win. How? We are outnumbered and outgunned. Because we are human, and humans do not know when to quit. We face impossible odds and find a way through. You said it yourself. That is what makes us special. He turned to the others. We have 1 hour to prepare. 1 hour to turn this place into a fortress. 1 hour to show these aliens why humans have survived every challenge we have ever faced. Diho grinned. Now you sound like a soldier. What is the plan? Taeyang's mind raced. He thought about their resources, their position, the enemy's tactics, and slowly a plan formed. It was risky. It was desperate, but it might work. We make Hyunwoo come to us, Taeyang said. The attack came exactly 1 hour later. Velaran soldiers emerged from the forest in perfect formation. Their armor glowed with blue energy shields. Their weapons hummed with power. They moved like a single organism, coordinated and deadly, but they walked into the first trap immediately. Taeyang had spent the hour rigging explosives around the hill, old mining charges that Minho knew how to modify. When the Valoran soldiers reached the markers, Daeho pressed the detonator. The explosions ripped through the night. Earth and rocks flew into the air. Several soldiers were thrown backward. Their shields flickered and failed. The perfect formation broke. Now! Taeyang shouted. The team opened fire from the observatory windows. Bullets and energy weapons lit up the darkness. The Velaran soldiers recovered quickly and returned fire, but they were off balance, confused. This was not the easy victory Hyunwoo had promised them. For 20 minutes the battle raged. The observatory shook with impacts. Windows shattered. Walls cracked. But the human defenders held their ground. They used tactics the Valorans did not expect. They fired from unexpected angles. They used smoke and mirrors. They made the aliens fight for every inch. Then, as planned, Taeyang gave the signal to retreat. Fall back to the basement, move! The team abandoned their positions and rushed down the stairs. The Valoran soldiers, seeing their enemies flee, charged up the hill. They poured into the observatory through doors and broken windows, and found it empty. The humans were gone, but the building was full of tripwires, pressure plates, and more explosives. The Valorans had walked into a death trap. Taeyang pressed the second detonator from his position in the underground tunnel that connected the observatory to an old mine shaft 200 meters away. The explosions were massive. The entire observatory shook. Parts of the ceiling collapsed. Through the tunnel, they could hear the screams of wounded Valoran soldiers. Many had died. More were injured. Hyunwoo's perfect strike force was in chaos. Phase 2, Taeyang said. Nari, you are up. Nari nodded. This was the most dangerous part of the plan. She emerged from the tunnel alone and walked toward the burning observatory. Her hands were raised in surrender. Hyunwoo appeared from behind his command vehicle. He was tall and imposing in his golden armor. His face was twisted with rage. You think you are clever? He shouted at Nari. You killed my soldiers with tricks and cowardice, but it changes nothing. You have lost. Yes, Nari said calmly. I have lost. I surrender, take me, but let the humans go. They were just trying to help me. Hyunwoo laughed. It was a cold, cruel sound. Let them go? No, they die too. As a message. As a warning to all humans who would dare interfere with Valoran business. He grabbed Nari roughly and activated a device on his wrist. Energy shackles appeared around her wrists, glowing with blue light. Bring her to the ship, Hyunwoo commanded his remaining soldiers. I will deal with the humans myself. As the soldiers dragged Nari toward their shuttle, Hyunwoo turned back to the ruins of the observatory. He held up a weapon that looked like a small cannon. Come out, humans. Come out and face your death with honor, or I will burn this entire mountain. But the humans did not come out. Instead, something else happened. A small drone flew up from the tunnel entrance. It was one of Deho's surveillance drones. It flew directly at Hyunwoo and exploded in a flash of light and sound. Hyunwoo staggered back, his shields absorbing the blast, but his vision temporarily blinded. In that moment of confusion, Taeyang emerged from a hidden position behind a rock. He was not alone. The entire team had split up and circled around through the forest while Hyunwoo was distracted by Nari's surrender. Now they attacked from all sides simultaneously. Jinwoo fired a rocket launcher at the shuttle where Nari was being held. The explosion destroyed the shuttle's engines. The soldiers guarding Nari scattered. She used the moment to break free, her enhanced strength snapping the energy shackles like paper. Hyejin and Minho engaged the scattered Valoran soldiers with guerrilla tactics. They fired from cover, then moved before return fire could hit them. They used the terrain, the darkness, and their knowledge of human warfare to even the odds. Daeho went straight for the command vehicle. He planted explosives on its communication array and detonated them. Hyunwoo's link to his ships in orbit was severed, and Taeyang went for Hyunwoo himself. It was suicide. Taeyang knew that. Hyunwoo was faster, stronger, and wearing advanced armor, but Taeyang had something Hyunwoo did not. He had nothing to lose and everything to fight for. He fired his rifle at close range. The bullet sparked off Hyunwoo's shields. The Valoran commander turned and backhanded Taeyang. The force of the blow sent Taeyang flying into a tree. Pain exploded through his body. "Foolish human," Hyunwoo said. "Did you really think you could defeat me?" He raised his weapon to finish Taeyang. But then Nari appeared. She moved with incredible speed and slammed into Hyunwoo from the side. They both went down in a tangle of armor and glowing energy. "You will not hurt him," Nari shouted. Hyunwoo threw her off and stood. So the princess has feelings for the primitive. How disgusting. How weak. "It is not weakness to care," Nari said. "It is strength. Something you will never understand." They fought. It was a battle between two trained Valoran warriors. They moved faster than human eyes could follow. Energy blades clashed. Armor sparked. The air crackled with power. But Nari was still recovering from her crash injuries, and Hyunwoo was at full strength. Slowly, inevitably, he began to overpower her. Taeyang forced himself to stand despite the pain. He had to help her, but how? His human strength was nothing compared to theirs. His weapons could not penetrate their armor. Then he remembered something Nari had taught them. Valoran armor had one weak point. The joints, specifically the connection between helmet and chestplate. Taeyang picked up a piece of sharp metal from the destroyed shuttle. He waited for the right moment. When Hyunwoo's attention was focused on Nari, when his back was turned, Taeyang charged. He was not fast like Nari. He was not strong like Hyunwoo, but he was determined. And he was human. And humans fight dirty when they have to. Taeyang drove the metal shard into the gap in Hyunwoo's armor at the base of his neck. It was not deep enough to kill, but it was enough to hurt. Enough to distract. Hyunwoo roared in pain and spun around. His fist caught Taeyang in the chest. Ribs cracked. Taeyang fell hard. He could not breathe. Black spots danced in his vision. But his attack had given Nari the opening she needed. She activated her own energy blade and drove it through Hyunwoo's shield generator. The shields flickered and died. Suddenly, Hyunwoo was vulnerable. The remaining Valoran soldiers saw their commander's shields fail. They hesitated. Some started to retreat. Without shields, without clear orders, their cohesion broke. Hyunwoo realized he had lost. His force was scattered. His communication was cut. His shields were down, and he was surrounded by determined humans who refused to quit. But he had one last card to play. "If I cannot win, then no one wins," Hyunwoo snarled. He activated a device on his belt. "I have just sent a signal to my ships in orbit. In 5 minutes, they will fire on this location. Everyone here will die, including you, Nari." Nari's face went pale. "You would kill your own soldiers. Better dead than defeated by humans. My ships will tell the council that you died in an accident, that the prophecy was a lie, and Earth will be quarantined forever." He laughed and started to walk away. But Daeho stepped in front of him, raising his rifle. "You are not going anywhere." Hyunwoo's hand moved faster than thought. He grabbed the rifle and crushed it. Then he grabbed Daeho by the throat and lifted him off the ground. "Insects," Hyunwoo said. "All of you." But then something extraordinary happened. Taeyang, barely conscious and broken, crawled to where Nari stood. He reached out and took her hand. The moment they touched, the resonance exploded between them. Light poured from their joined hands. It spread across the battlefield like a wave. It was not destructive. It was not a weapon. It was pure energy, pure connection, the physical manifestation of two souls recognizing each other across impossible distances. The light washed over Hyunwoo and he screamed. Not in pain, but in shock. The resonance forced him to feel what Taeyang and Nari felt. Love, connection, unity. Everything he claimed was weakness, everything he feared, poured into him all at once. He dropped Daeho and staggered backward. No, this is not possible. The prophecy cannot be real, but it was real. Everyone could see it. The light that joined Taeyang and Nari was visible proof. This was the soul resonance. This was what the ancient texts had predicted. A human and a Valoran united by something deeper than biology or culture. The remaining Valoran soldiers stopped fighting. They stared at the light in awe and confusion. Some dropped their weapons. Then the sky lit up with new lights. Ships were descending through the atmosphere. Huge ships with symbols that Nari recognized immediately. The council, she whispered. They came early. They must have detected the resonance. 3 massive vessels landed in the forest clearing. Their doors opened and Valoran officials emerged. At the front was an old Valoran with silver robes and ancient eyes. Behind him was Ambassador Jiwon. The Valoran who had been trying to 6 months had passed since that night at the observatory. 6 months since the world changed forever. Taeyang stood on the balcony of his new cabin and watched the sky. It was similar to his old cabin, but bigger and better equipped. The Valoran Council had built it for him as thanks for his role in proving the prophecy. It stood on the same mountain, not far from where his old home had burned. But the sky was different now. Ships moved through it regularly. Valoran vessels coming and going from the new embassy in Seoul. Human ships, too. Experimental craft built with shared technology. Earth and Valora were learning to work together, slowly building trust. First contact had been announced 3 months ago. The world had reacted with shock, fear, and wonder. Some people celebrated, some protested, some simply tried to understand what it meant for humanity's future. The Valoran Council had officially welcomed Earth into the galactic community, but they had been careful. No sudden technology dumps, no interference with human governments. Just open communication, cultural exchange, and the promise of gradual integration. It would take decades, maybe centuries, but the door to the stars was open now, and it would never close again. You are thinking too hard again, Nari said from behind him. Taeyang turned and smiled. She looked beautiful in the morning light. She wore human clothes now, jeans and a simple shirt, though her glowing marks were still visible on her arms and neck. She had learned to speak Korean fluently. She cooked human food. She even had a job teaching at the university, helping humans understand Valoran culture. But she still lived with Taeyang. She had chosen to stay on Earth, to be with him. I was thinking about how much has changed, Taeyang said. Do you regret it? Your quiet life is gone forever now. No regrets. That quiet life was not really living. It was just hiding from pain. You taught me to live again. Nari came to stand beside him. She took his hand and the familiar warmth of the resonance flowed between them.
It was stronger now.
After 6 months together, they could sense each other's emotions from across the room. Sometimes they could even share thoughts. I have news, Nari said. Ambassador Jiwon contacted me this morning. Good news or bad news? Both. The Council has made a formal decision about Earth's integration timeline. Full membership in the galactic community will take 50 years minimum. Humans need time to adapt, to grow, to prove yourselves capable of handling advanced technology responsibly. 50 years. That is longer than I will live. Maybe not. Valoran medical technology can extend human life by decades. But that is not the point. The point is that it is happening. Your children will see it. Their children will benefit from it. Taeyang squeezed her hand. They had talked about children before. It was possible now. Valoran and human DNA were compatible with some medical assistance. The first hybrid child would be a symbol of unity between worlds. And the bad news? Taeyang asked. Not bad exactly. Just complicated. The Council wants me to return to Valora for 6 months. There are ceremonies, diplomatic meetings, and formal recognition of the resonance. They want me to speak to the Empire about Earth. to help others understand why humans deserve to be part of our community. Taeyang felt a pang in his chest. 6 months apart, it felt like an eternity. But he understood. Nari had responsibilities. She was not just his partner. She was a princess, a symbol, a bridge between worlds. When do you leave? In 2 weeks. But Taeyang, I want you to come with me. He stared at her. Come with you? To Valora? Yes, as my consort. As living proof of the resonance. We would travel together, speak together, show the Empire what humans are capable of, show them that love transcends biology and culture. I have never been to space. I have never left Earth. Then it is time. Come see the purple skies I told you about. Meet my people. See the Empire that will now be part of your world. Taeyang looked at the sky again. Ships passed overhead. He had spent his life on this mountain in this country. The thought of leaving was terrifying, but also exciting. Yes, he said. I will go with you. Nari's face lit up with joy. She threw her arms around him and kissed him. The resonance pulsed with their shared happiness. They spent the rest of the morning making plans. Taeyang would need special equipment to survive on Valora. The gravity was different. The atmosphere had trace elements humans needed protection from, but Valoran technology could handle all of that. Daeho visited that afternoon. He had become famous too, the human soldier who helped save Earth. He now led the joint human-Valoran security team that protected the embassy. I heard you are going to Valora, Daeho said, shaking Taeyang's hand. That is incredible. Bring back stories. I will. How are things at the embassy? Busy. Humans and Valorans learning to work together is not always smooth. Cultural differences cause problems. Some Valorans still think humans are primitive. Some humans think Valorans are arrogant. But we are making progress. And Hyunwoo? Daeho's expression darkened. He is in prison on Valora. Life sentence. His followers were arrested too. But there are still some who believe what he believed. That humans are not ready. We have to prove them wrong every day. We will, Nari said. One day at a time. One person at a time. After Daeho left, Taeyang and Nari walked through the forest together. This had become their routine. Every evening, they walked the same paths where they had first met, where everything had started. Do you remember that night? Taeyang asked. When I found your pod, I remember everything. The pain, the fear, and then seeing your face, feeling your kindness even before I understood who you were. I thought you were dead at first, when I opened the pod and saw the silver blood. And yet you saved me. You did not run. You did not report me. You just helped. That is when I knew the prophecy was real, not because of the resonance, but because of who you are. They reached a clearing where a memorial had been built. It marked the spot where Nari's pod had crashed. It was a simple stone with inscriptions in both Korean and Valoran. First contact, the stone read. Where two worlds met and chose friendship over fear. Taeyang touched the stone. Sometimes I still cannot believe this is real, that I am part of something this big. You are not just part of it. You are the reason it happened. Without you, I would be dead. Hyunwoo would have won. Earth would be alone. Without you, I would still be alone too. Living in the past. Afraid to feel anything. They stood together in comfortable silence. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Similar to Valoran purple skies, Taeyang thought. Beautiful in their own way. Nari, can I ask you something? Always. When we get back from Valora, when all the ceremonies and speeches are done, will you marry me? Nari turned to look at him. Her eyes were wide. Marry you? Yes, I know we have the resonance. I know we are bonded spiritually. But I want the human ceremony too. I want to stand in front of our friends and family and promise to love you forever. Is that okay? Tears ran down Nari's face, glowing softly in the dying light. It is more than okay. It is perfect. Yes, Taeyang, I will marry you. He pulled out a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ring he had made himself. Simple silver with a small stone that glowed like Nari's marks. Next to it was a Valoran bonding crystal, blue and shimmering. I was not sure which one to use, Taeyang admitted. So I brought both. Nari laughed through her tears. We will use both. A human ring and a Valoran crystal, a marriage that honors both our worlds. He slipped the ring on her finger. She activated the bonding crystal and it wrapped around both their hands in a soft blue light. In that moment, the resonance surged stronger than ever before. It was not just two souls connecting, it was two civilizations joining together through their love. The weeks passed quickly. Taiyang prepared for his journey to Velora. He studied the language, though the translation devices made it less critical. He learned about Veloran customs and etiquette. He said goodbye to the few friends he had in the nearby village. On the day they were to leave, a crowd gathered at the new spaceport outside Seoul. Hundreds of people came to see them off. The first human to visit another world as part of formal diplomatic relations. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras flashed. Officials gave speeches about historic moments and new eras. But Taiyang only had eyes for the ship that would take them to the stars. It was beautiful, sleek silver with blue accents, much larger than Nari's escape pod but smaller than the council ships. A diplomatic vessel designed for comfort and speed. As they walked toward the ship hand in hand, Taiyang looked back at Earth one last time. This small blue world that had been his entire universe. This planet that had survived so much and now stood ready to join a larger community. Second thoughts? Nari asked gently. No, just gratitude. I am grateful for everything that led me here. Even the pain. Even the loss. Because it all led me to you. They boarded the ship together. The doors closed behind them. Taeyang felt a moment of fear as the ship lifted off. He was really leaving Earth, really going to another world. But Nari held his hand and the fear melted away. With her, he could face anything. With her, even the impossible became possible. The ship broke through the atmosphere. For the first time in his life, Taeyang saw Earth from space.